So every HVAC company prepares for summer demand, but how many are measuring whether your inventory can survive it? And so revenue loss to stock out due to stock out is sort of the KPI that exposes whether your peak season is, profitable or if it's sort of destroying your margin because you don't have inventory. And so I want to show you how to calculate this, and it's potential revenue and then revenue loss to stockouts, and then just a percentage versus a target, and then create this chart. So here in this data set, we sort of have everything here. And if you want this data set, there's a link to download it, or you can just shoot me an email. But essentially, the columns that we're going to need are going to be the date. And then for this specific KPI, there's a lot of different KPIs you can do. For this specific one, we need date, then we need potential revenue, potential ticket revenue, and then revenue loss to stockouts. So what you'll notice is revenue fulfilled here and like potential revenue, that's like if you were to resell the part. But once you use that part on a job, you have a multiplier, right? So you have labor's involved to, install different parts. And so the revenue loss to stockouts is just that. It's how much money did you lose? And it's not just the part cost, it's the labor cost attached to it. And so let's get started. The first thing we need to do in this data set is we need to strip out the month and the year from the date column. And I've already done this, but I'll show you how to do it again. So equals text, and then over the date, 4 ends, and then again text for the year, same date, same function. Instead of 4 m's, we're going to do 4 y's. Okay, so that's how you can strip out the date and the year from a date. You could also there's a lot of stuff you can do with the text function. Like if you have any questions about, the functionality of it, just let me know. But there's a lot more you can do than just that. Anyways, I'm going to delete this because we already have it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I need to get a unique list, because we're going to do this by month and year. I'm going to get a unique list of the months in the year. And so data tab, just highlight that range, and then you get the unique list of everything. And it needs to be sequential. If your data is not, sorted by date, then you would need to make sure that it's sequential. So I'm just going to copy this and then paste it as values by pressing Control-Shift-V. So now we want potential ticket revenue, and then we want, shortage, revenue loss to shortages or to stockouts. So we'll call this, revenue lost. And then here we're just going to calculate a percentage, and then here we're going to have a target. Okay, so to calculate the potential ticket revenue, we need to sum this column here if this column is B3, is January, and this column here is C3, the year. And so we have that. And then you can see, the seasonality of summers. Here in Texas, it gets hot, a lot of demand in the summer. And then now we want to do the same formula, and I'll show you how much is the same, but instead of the potential ticket revenue, I'll show you. What we want to do is we want to go down here and do the lost. So it's going to be revenue lost to stockouts. And I wanted to show you, I remember the column name, but I wanted to show you how you can find it. And then just close your bracket here. Well, let me try that again. I deleted out of it. Revenue loss to stockouts. And then I need to close that. Okay, and so now you can double click that. And then you have that. And now, like, the hard part's done. Getting these formulas figured out is the hardest part. And now we just want a percentage of the two. So revenue lost divided by, let's say, revenue loss to stockouts. And then Control-Shift-5 to get a percentage. And then say you have a target of 2%. And then I'm going to put 2% above it. Okay, so now we can create the chart, but there's one more thing I want to do. And I want to do the date here. So equals this and this. And then now we can create the chart. So what I'm going to do in this one, I did the revenue loss to stockouts as the column, and you can do the exact same thing, or you can do potential ticket revenue. But I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to hold down Control and then highlight these three, go to Insert, and then go to Recommended Charts, All Charts, combo. And then from here, I need to make the percent and the target secondary axes, but I want them to both be lines. So you can see here, the reason why you don't see it here is because you're getting 1.7 and 2% on an axis up to 100,000. So 0.01, 0.02. And so once you click secondary axis, it all sort of makes more sense. So the lines are on this axis on the right side and the columns are on the y axis. And so let's just name it, say this here. And so yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. The rest is just sort of housekeeping. So with this green line, what I'll do is I'll make it a little bit thinner. It's sort of taking up too much real estate here. And so let's just make it super thin, maybe make it orange. We can make it, you can leave it a solid line. You can do it however you want. I mean, there's no right or wrong way, whatever makes it easiest for you. And then I want to show the values. And so if you click on the chart, you'll see a crosshair here, and then you have data labels, but we don't want to click that because if you see it's way too noisy. We want to click on the line and then select that box. And it's still a little bit hard to see, like maybe the 2.7 is a little bit off. So if you click on the numbers and then you go up here to the home in the font section, you can fill in the background. And so I just filled that in. I mean, you could pick any color, but I just filled that in. And so yeah, anyways, that's how you calculate it. I mean, the hardest part isn't actually, the calculation. It's getting your data structured properly. And so if you have any questions about how to structure your data or you want the file or any of that stuff, just shoot me an email, questions@databoards.io. But yeah, and so the hardest part is filling in this and knowing, like of course when you have the stock out, but are you entering in the data into a spreadsheet or into Service Titan or whatever software you're using? And if not, then it might be a good idea to start doing that, because if you look here, or I guess here as well, if we do a total, let's just do a total here, equals the sum of this, copy paste, and then copy paste. So the overall was 3%. You'll notice that, you're losing, more than $250,000 a year. And again, this isn't on jobs done. This is just on sort of the first part of the buyer's journey. Like they're give you a call, hey, I need this done. And then you look at your inventory and you're like, oh, okay, I don't have this piece. I can still do 90% of the job, but I don't have this specific part. And you could lose the job. The customer could cancel it. You could have a delay if you have to order. You could have to pay more to have it, overnighted and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, so that's all I got for this one. Again, if you have any questions about this, shoot me an email. If you need some help structuring your data or getting insights from your data, then there's a link to my calendar, or you can just shoot me an email. But either way, that's all I got for this one, and I'll see you in future videos.